Watch this. There's a split-second window where the serve tells you everything, miss it, and you're already too late. Most players struggle with serve receive not because they can't read spin, but because they read it too late. The moment your opponent contacts the ball, that is your golden judgment window. If you wait until the ball is already in front of you and then try to react, it's far too late. The ball jams you, and you end up just blocking or stabbing at it with no real technique. Most people don't react until the ball arrives. That's the worst case. If you judge at the first point, the instant of contact, you can identify sidespin topspin or sidespin backspin right away. That gives you enough time regardless of ball speed. At the second point, mid-flight, you might manage if the ball is slow or short, and you don't need footwork. But anything fast or deep, you can't keep up. At the third point, the ball is in your face. You'll get jammed, eat the spin, and your body simply cannot execute a proper stroke. Watch what happens. My partner sends one over, see how I'm immediately jammed. If you wait until the ball is right in front of you before you act, you can just stand there, and the spin will beat you every time. Now here's the thing. When we tested your ability to identify spin, most of you were actually very accurate. You can read spin, that's not the issue. The issue is how fast you make that read. The ball leaves the racket and travels across the table in an instant. You need to capture that golden window of anticipation at the moment of contact. That's what gives your hands and feet the foundation to prepare the correct response. Without that early read, all your spin knowledge is useless. You simply run out of time. So ask yourself, are you reading the spin at the moment of contact, during the ball's flight, or only when it reaches your side of the table? Can you judge it right away? It should be fairly clear. Was that sidespin topspin or sidespin backspin? It's sidespin backspin. Now let me ask you a follow-up question, and this is the important part. When did you make that judgment? Was it at the instant I contacted the ball? Think honestly about your own timing. I didn't use any deceptive motion on that serve, so the read should be straightforward. If you identified it right at the moment of contact, that's exactly where you want to be. Most of you should be aiming for that first point, the instant of contact. Even if you've been a second-point reader, until now, just knowing you should be watching at point 1 is already progress. You must train yourself to judge at point 1. And here's the key. Even if you're not completely sure what you saw in that split second, commit to your read. Even if your read isn't perfectly clear, you have to force yourself to make a decision at that moment. Train your eyes to capture that split second of contact. If you shrug it off and say you'll catch it mid-flight or react when it arrives, you won't keep up. Even professional players can't rely on last-second reactions, and without systematic training, neither can you. All right, get ready, watch this next serve and judge the spin. Now, what kind of spin was that? Was it spin or no spin? This is actually one of the trickiest reads in table tennis. I'm not asking you to distinguish topspin from backspin here. I want you to tell me whether the ball is spinning at all or whether it's a no-spin serve. That serve was no spin. The first serve I chopped down, that one had real spin on it. The second serve was the no-spin version. See, when you genuinely lock your eyes on the contact point, you really can read it. You need to calm your mind and channel all your focus into your opponent's moment of contact. That's where your attention belongs. Don't just stand at the table like a statue, with your mind wandering, be locked in. Narrow your gaze, stare right at their racket hand, and capture that instant of contact like a camera shutter clicking. Once you train yourself to read the serve at that moment, your entire receive game transforms. Your eyes must capture that instant, like a camera snapshot, freeze the moment of contact, and read the racket's action. Most of you can actually do this well when you focus. But here's the next problem. Many players read the spin correctly, and then their hands don't follow through on that judgment. The read and the response don't match. For example, you identify topspin, but then just poke at the ball instead of executing properly. Sound familiar? You read the spin correctly, you're telling yourself it's topspin, 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 and then your hand pushes anyway. The ball pops up, and sure enough it was topspin, just like you knew. You could have attacked it, but you didn't. The regret hits instantly. This happens most in high-pressure matches, the ones that really matter to you. The stakes make you cautious, and caution overrides your judgment. You tell yourself before the point, be aggressive, commit to looping, get your hand in early. Then the serve comes and you push, and you get crushed. The regret floods in again. This is human nature. When the pressure is on, fear of losing makes you choose the conservative option. You play safe to avoid mistakes. But here's the reality. At any competitive level, passive receives don't survive. Your opponent loops every day. That stroke is second nature to them. They won't miss. The match comes down to who is more decisive, more committed. So serve-receive becomes this cycle of regret. You should have attacked but didn't, should have pushed short but didn't, should have looped but didn't. Trust your judgment. If your eyes told you the answer, let your hands follow through. If I read topspin, I attack. If I read backspin, I loop. And even if I can't lift it perfectly today, committing to that stroke is how I eventually will. Trust your spin judgment and act on it. Think of it this way. If I read it wrong and my hands did exactly what my brain commanded, that's fine. I made a unified decision, and it was simply a skill issue. I'll improve. The worst that happens is I lose the point. But if I read the spin correctly and my hands freeze, if I hesitate and do something completely different, my receive will never improve. You cannot stay stuck at that stage. Say you read backspin, and you've already decided to push long. Then commit fully. Execute a quality, long push deep to the baseline. Whether that push clears the net perfectly or pops up a little high, it doesn't matter. You read backspin and you acted on your read. That's progress. What holds you back is reading the spin correctly, but then freezing, not executing, letting doubt paralyze your hands. Take these ideas, the mental commitment, reading spin at the golden moment of contact, and locking your focus, and pour them into your receive practice. Your anticipation will sharpen. Receive is a skill you build point by point, layer by layer. And unlike other techniques where you can substitute, serve-receive has no substitute. Every single rally starts there, and you cannot avoid it. So commit to developing it.